All right. My name is Dr. Benny Graves. I'm a writer for Rue Morgue. I am a veterinarian, so the doctor's not just for show, and I understand that I look a lot like Marc Maron.
Yeah.
So that's off the table. On Chucky and Tiffany consummating their union, John Waters had this to say: Godzilla didn't have sex. Frankenstein didn't jerk off. Child's Play is a unique beast, and who better to talk about it than the stars of what is, in my opinion, the center point of the series as a cultural force, Child's Play 2. Can I please get a warm welcome for Alex Vincent and Christine Elise?
That was a lovely introduction.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm like Leonard Maltin.
I like it.
I have like a real personal history with this movie because as a little kid, I was very scared shitless of Chucky. Like even the image on this box, which was on like the big video store, a marquee thing, scared the crap out of me. And then I remember TNT played it all the time, and I was a little kid and I was just browsing and I saw The End, which is insane. It's the fireworks factory, right, of all the Child's Play.
Toy Factory.
Right,
Yeah.
but it's like you get to the fireworks factory, you know what I mean? That's like a bit, and it's like it's nuts. Everything is nuts. But for me, this is the one that really takes the first movie, which is like a bleak movie about black magic murder, and it's Looney Tunes at this point, and you get to see Chucky implode at the end. And did you get the sense that this one had some like a different feel, Alex, or in general that it had this like cult movie potential?
Well, it being a sequel made it feel like it was already on its way to be, is a bigger thing now. It was appreciated enough for us to get a sequel. Stuff like that factory and just the whole process of making it at Universal Studios felt more grandiose. But if you're asking, did I think I'd be here at 42, 43 talking about it? No, I didn't.
Christine?
What he said. I mean, it was there's no possible way to anticipate what it's evolved into being. And as far as our participation, we weren't in the third one, so it sort of felt like that ship, had completed its course by the second one for us. So to come back so many years later has been unexpected and fucking awesome.
Hell yeah. I know that Brad Dourif recorded all his dialogue in advance. They had to, pair it with the animatronics and stuff. But I know, Alex, you got to meet him before shooting the first movie. And did you guys get to meet him on the second one? Did he come to set at all?
The second one, I don't think we saw him once. I don't remember seeing him.
I did. I did a rehearsal with him just so he could hear how I was going to do my dialogue, so he could know how to record his responses and stuff. So I was already a huge Brad Dourif fan when I met him. And I continue to be. I'm completely starstruck by him. I'm so intimidated, and I can't believe that he even knows who I am. That my life has come to a place where Brad Dourif knows who I am is awesome.
Yeah, he's wild. Exorcist 3, one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Kevin Yeager.
I want to interject one thing. Speaking of third films, I want to tell you a little story. That today I worked up the nerve to say hello to Eli Roth. And I interrupted a conversation. He's always talking to somebody. I finally cut in. So I'm so sorry. I'm Christine. I just want to say I'm a really big fan of the Hostel franchise. Alex and I get asked what our favorite movies are all the time. And we always mention Hostel in the conversation. He said, oh, thanks. And I said, I'm a really big fan. My favorite one is Hostel 3. And he said, I had nothing to do with that fucking movie. I haven't even seen it. So what I'm asking every one of you to do is to walk up to his table today and say, oh, you don't have anything from Hostel 3 on your table. So please, if you have the balls, please do that for me and save my embarrassment by making it a big joke.
Just dilute. And
No
just
Hostel
brilliant.
3 on the table. What's going on?
Just trying to dilute her shame.
I am.
No, I love a good bit, and I love when it comes together. Kevin Yeager, very talented effects artist, right?
Yeah.
Did the Freddy Krueger effects for those early movies, and then those effects hold up. They look fucking great. And yes, CGI can be a tremendous gift unless you're using it to back up a car in the Roadhouse remake. But it can also replace a lot of creativity. And, was it wild to see that in person happening, like all these dudes puppeteering this thing?
Yeah, of course. In the beginning of the shooting the first film, second, there were all kinds of wires coming out from Chucky. They did a lot of things on monitors, under sets, like built up sets that they would go underneath. Yeah, for like people ask me all the time if I was afraid. For a 6-year-old kid, seeing this incredible like $1 million doll puppet that they can control his facial expressions. And now that stuff has simplified a bit. It's more remote control. They can program Chucky's face to say all the dialogue. It's still really fun to watch. It's still really cool to watch. And as any Chucky fan knows, we don't use CGI. It's all practical effects. But now we can paint out green men puppeteers. They wear like these green suits, and they can be on screen with us, and then they paint them out later. And most things are remote controlled now, so it's like simplified a bit, but it's still, yeah, it's the coolest thing.
Take that, remake. The one thing that I will say is this is like a really unique franchise because you guys are like the Chucky family, and I feel like Mancini has been so focused on preserving the canon of everything that happens throughout the series. And, you know, did it feel familiar and comfortable to get back into it with the follow-up movies and with the show? And was it like coming home? You know, it feels like you guys are all so very close at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what it was. One of the best things about this TV series is that we got to stay for a longer period of time. You know, movies these days are kind of shot in about a month. But we had 2 summers in Toronto for 3.5 months, going out to dinner with some of our favorite people. And when Jennifer Tilly's buying you sushi, you feel pretty lucky to be there. So yeah, it was certainly comfortable, and Don is just so brilliant. So it's really fun to see him get excited about some line he wrote for Chucky or some kill that he came up with. He still just genuinely really, really loves it, and it's infectious.
Christine?
Just ditto. I've known Don. I was 24 when I did Child's Play 2, and Don was 26. I had already known Jennifer Tilly before either one of us were in the Chucky franchise. And so, I've known him since he was 8, so it really is family. And literally in the case of Brad and Fiona, literally in the case of Kevin Yeager and Catherine Hicks, sort of figuratively, and my brother from another mother. So it really is a family thing. Don's super sentimental. Fortunately, he has got great taste in people. All the kids that he cast in the show are really smart and funny and respectful, raised right kids, and so they were really fun to get to know too. So yeah, it's a luxury to get to work with people that you trust so much and then go have dinner with them.
Oh yeah, and that's the type of horror we want to cultivate. Let's give him another round of applause, folks. Alex, for you, you're not even 10 years old when you appear in Child's Play. And then what is it like growing up and going through your adolescence into adulthood with those first 2 movies in the rear view and then, you know, coming back to it now?
Yeah, I mean, I started really early. I was auditioning when I was 5, and I got Chucky when I was 6. I did the second one when I was 8. And then I continued to audition for a while, but I was back in school. Back in those days, like, kids didn't see everything all the time, so most of the kids in my school like knew of Chucky but hadn't seen him yet. It wasn't really till I got to high school that everyone kind of knew about it. But I grew up in a really small town with like 80 kids that knew me before I left and knew me while I was making it and knew me after it. And for the most part, they just treated me normal because I was already Alex before, you know. They knew me before. It was the same kids. When I got to high school, it got a little weird. But yeah, they don't, you know, kids are they weren't mean about it or anything, but they weren't exactly like, oh, that's awesome, Alex. You know, they're like kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, horror wasn't as cool to like horror when we were younger.
No, and horror wasn't nearly as accepted mainstream as it is now.
Right.
Even now, it's not as mainstream as it feels to all of us because it's in our orbit, you know. But yeah, back then, it's true. Horror films was like stepbrother to porn, I think. So.
And step siblings fight once in a while. Christine, as Kyle, one of the darker elements of the character, and maybe I'm reaching for this, but I feel like you encapsulate this idea of kids who are smart enough to recognize that like the foster system is meant to like shuffle them along, and I feel like you brought that idea to life. How do you feel about that?
I just said the words they told me to say. So, yeah, I'm not an actor that like does a lot of research or does a lot of trying to get in the body of another person. I'm much more of an actor that tries to make that person as much me as I can, because that's the easiest thing to do. And also, everybody's individuality is the most unique thing they have to bring to anything. So if you try to, my best advice to people who want to act is don't ever do what you think they want you to do. Do what you would do.
Sure.
Because your life experience, et cetera, and your perspective is unique to you. So yeah, I was, the character is not unlike me, and she's sort of a smart, dark, sarcastic kid, and I think that's probably why I got the part, because I'm so sort of much like that too. So, yeah.
You know, speaking about the family relationships, and how Christine and I are we're very, very close. But I find it funny that in Child's Play 2, we were foster brother and sister, and now in real life we are, and Chucky adopted us. Pretty much is how it feels.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right, let's get weird with it. Alex, you're from Wayne, New Jersey.
I'm not.
Oh, that's incorrect in the Wikipedia.
Wikipedia failed you.
Guess where he's from?
No, yeah, who knows where I'm from here? Oh, I'm from Hackensack, New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Which is where this show takes place. That's not Don trying to fuck with me at all, right?
So, where Wikipedia incorrectly said you were from, which is Wayne.
I was born in Wayne, New Jersey.
Okay.
Never
All right.
lived there. That's Wayne General Hospital is the hospital I was born.
Gotcha.
I spent, I think, a day and a half there.
And I'm also a Jersey boy.
Yeah.
And right near Wayne is this town called Lodi, which is where the Misfits
Well,
are
Lodi,
from.
I also lived in. My father was a retired Lodi police officer.
wow.
He lived there for decades.
It's like a mining town, right?
I lived there for
Or
a
was.
while, too, yeah.
And you're, speaking of alternative music, you're a big Nine Inch Nails fan.
Mm-hmm.
And you've seen them, what, like 70 times?
Twice.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And
What's the number, Alex?
77.
see, I was right about that one. And I've only seen them twice. But what are your favorite Nine Inch Nails tracks?
Oh, jeez. I thought I'll go records. I guess Everyone Loves the Downward Spiral. I think The Fragile is his best work ever. A song called "And All That Could Have Been."
Okay.
That's my favorite.
Trent Reznor, he doesn't disappoint, man. It's wild. Now he does like Pixar movies, right?
He'll do it. Yeah, he's winning Oscars. So.
Good for him. And speaking of weird alternative music, Christine, do you still have SSDs the kids will have their say on tape?
I do. I have the demo tapes for that. I have a cassette tape of the demos for that. Yeah.
That's wild. So SSD, for those of you who aren't aware, is like foundational hardcore punk music, and Christine was very much involved in the Boston hardcore community. You're in American Hardcore, which is the documentary about hardcore music. You're in All Ages. So what was that like, straddling the line between being in movies and TV, but also being part of this, probably the most responsible segment of the punk community?
Rephrase that.
So what was it like, straddling the line between like going into these like 90210 and Child's Play, which are like
Okay.
big movies, but also being part of like alternative culture?
They weren't simultaneous.
Yeah.
I grew up in Boston. I left Boston in '84. I saw the Misfits a ton of times before 1984. I saw, but yeah, I was in the broader punk rock scene in Boston too, which most of the hardcore kids weren't. They were too young. My parents were cool and got me a good fake ID and took me to clubs to see bands when I was 14 and 15. So I've been doing saw a lot of great stuff. Really great. Like I saw Bauhaus in a room this size
Oh my
when
God.
I was 16 or 15. I saw Prince in 1980. I saw him in the Dirty Mind tour with a thong and leg warmers on. So, but by '84, especially in hardcore, the general consensus with people who were there is that hardcore ended in '84.
Okay.
People who weren't there disagree. But so then I moved out of LA. I left LA in '84. I left LA 40 years ago, and didn't go to LA to be an actor. I never tried to be an actor in Boston. I didn't want to be an actor. I was too shy. I thought I wanted to be a director. I moved to LA to go to film school. That just wasn't going to happen. So I worked as a cashier on Rodeo Drive for 2.5 years, taking the bus because I didn't drive. In Los Angeles, taking the bus is a weird thing to do. And then I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? I can't be a fucking cashier the rest of my life. I got to do something. How can I get involved in the film community with no training, no skill, and no talent? I guess I'll be an actor. And I tried that, and I looked really young. I looked 15, and I played 15, 16, 17 for like a decade.
Fantastic.
But I did write the 90210 with the Cramps in it.
She did. She wrote an episode of 90210 with the Cramps on it, and that's, man, what a contrast. 90210 and the Cramps. You were also, so you were supposed to be in a movie, let's see if I'm right about this, called Boiling Point.
Yes.
With Wesley Snipes and Dennis Hopper.
And Viggo Mortensen.
And from his experience working with you, you were cast in the Vanishing Point remake.
That's correct.
As Kowalski's wife.
Yes.
And
yes.
Mortensen plays Kowalski.
What's that?
Viggo Mortensen plays
Yes.
Kowalski. And what's Viggo Mortensen like?
Viggo Mortensen's a fucking stud. Look at who doesn't love Viggo Mortensen? Even men want to fuck Viggo Mortensen. He's like a perfect person.
Yeah, have you seen Eastern Promises? He's running around with
he's naked.
his dong out. Yeah.
Well, he's European, you know. He'll run around naked.
That's true.
Freely. And he was married to Exene Cervenka of X. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they had a kid together. Yep.
Man, he's so fucking cool.
He's the coolest thing ever.
And so you are a native Bostonian, and you are a vegan, correct? Have you been to Veggie Galaxy? You gotta go. Next time you're in Boston, you gotta hit it up. It's all vegan food.
I was just there last week. Damn.
It's
Okay.
wild, like what they do. They have like the junk food stuff and the pies that they make. It's unreal. Okay, that's enough of me yammering. Let's open it up to you fine folks. Any questions from the floor? Please don't be shy. This is a unique opportunity. Yes.
Never really an idea that I have. I kind of let Don come up with stuff, but he, not really. Bride and Seed happened maybe 5 years apart from each other. I was in high school when Bride came out, and I hadn't talked to Don in many years at that point. So yeah, like Christine said earlier, after getting written off going into part 3, I certainly thought that was done. I didn't think that I'd return to the role of Andy again until like maybe 2011. At that point, I'd already been talking to Don more. I kind of knew that there was a chance, at least.
Don approached me to play a different character. He wanted me to play, I think, Fiona's mom in Curse. He said, would you be open to coming back to the franchise and playing a different character? And I was like, yeah, yes. But they shot it in Canada, and Canada, as you know, has Canadian content rules, and they had met their quota of American actors, so I couldn't do it, which ended up being, I was disappointed, of course, but ended up being a good thing, because it would have been super confusing to have me come back as somebody else and then also come back as Kyle. So coming back as Kyle is the far superior thing to do. So.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
What Alex, as you know, as a child actor, being 6 and all, in Child's Play, the original, I always wondered, what was the scariest or hardest moment for you as a 6-year-old working on a set where people get murdered every day?
The murder part wasn't a problem for me, actually. I had the whole script memorized. I understood what it was. Once that kind of concept locked in my head that, okay, we're trying to make this scary for an audience, then I was never afraid of it. I understood exactly what the job was, even at that age. But the hardest part, I guess, was that crying scene in the asylum. I knew it was like on page 48. I was worried about the day and the one line of when we were going to shoot it. I worked on it with my acting coach. Yeah, I knew actually like getting myself to tears would be a challenge, and then the process of doing it was kind of difficult. So that was the hardest day. Never scary though.
Crying is the hardest day on any project. It's really a scary thing to do. I've had to do it a bunch, and I'm not a trained actor. I'm not the best crier in the world is Dana Delaney. She can like cry like which eye should the first tear come out of? So she's and she's still moving somehow when she does it. But I can do it sometimes and sometimes I can't. And it is you dread that day in the one line schedule where you see that's the day you're gonna have to cry. And I saw Jane Fonda talk in a documentary called Whatever Happened to Deborah Winger or something. Where's Deborah Winger? And she said that even Jane Fonda is like, oh fuck, this is the day I have to cry. And you know she's like me in that she doesn't know necessarily she's gonna get to it. And then you're walking this gauntlet from your trailer. We're ready for you, Miss Fonda, and you got to walk the gauntlet through the crew with everybody watching you, going, is she gonna fucking do it? You know, and so it's a lot of pressure, and like I've failed at it on when I've been asked to do it and I couldn't do it. So it's really hard, and sex scenes are brutal.
As for unnecessary
Especially
violence,
crying sex scenes, those are the worst.
and as for brutal violence, don't worry, we're American. We're very used to it. The gentleman in the blue.
What's it like acting, with a doll? I mean, are you like looking? I mean, are you looking at the doll when you're acting, or are you, or do they have someone blocking you, standing in for Chucky?
Yeah, it all depends. It all depends. If you're sharing the screen with him, then it's one-on-one with the doll. If he's not on screen, then he's not there, and you're looking at a piece of tape or something like that. Usually, Brad's voice is still played back, which is helpful. But yeah, we've talked about this before. Like almost always, if you don't see the other actor in that shot, they're probably not there.
That's not true.
Hold
The
on a
actors are
second.
true.
Sometimes the actors are there to read lines and stuff, but sometimes they're not.
That's rare. Only a dick would do that.
I don't know. A lot of script supervisors have read a lot of lines to me, but
That's fucked up.
they just don't care about me, is what it is. So they're just
Well,
like, fuck him.
you deserve it because in Child's Play 2, he was 8 years old and child labor laws applied to him. So they would shoot him first, and then they'd shoot the doll because the doll's really expensive. He was 9 SAG actors working him. So, like, did you see us all 3 on screen? They're in the same frame. They're all there. Then they'd shoot Alex out. Then they'd shoot the doll out. And I did all of my work to tape on C-stands. So
They were like, a
You
punk
fucking earned
chick,
it.
you're after the doll.
yeah.
Was it hard to act, to give a good performance when you were basically looking at nothing, or?
Yeah.
It's more challenging, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, when you like I've always said about ER, like it's so well written and the other actors are so talented. If you're paying attention, 90% of your job has been done for you by the people who are around you doing their job. I've cried on set because somebody else, Dana Delaney's crying, and I'm off camera crying because she's so moving. But so when you get that, but as far as it being a doll versus a human, no, it's all fake. So it doesn't matter who, and the doll's really pretty real when he comes to life. So
Doll's pretty real, and I've known him for a while, so I feel like the scenes that I'm actually sharing with Chucky, I'm actually pretty comforted. like I know how to act with him. So
Over there.
Yeah, I just binge watched because Chucky, I was talking to you, is finally on Netflix, and I was just wondering what it was like to have like the whole crew, like everybody from all like the various movies, like all together, like as a big family, like in Toronto hanging out. And just,
Yeah, it was great.
What it was like the chemistry and everything.
it was great. Like we said earlier, the Chucky family is a real thing, and so yeah, it's easier to do things when you're around your friends. So.
Feel like more or less like any pressure, it just comes naturally.
it's kind of more pressure actually
Yeah,
because you
there's a
really
little bit
owe
of that, but-
you feel like you owe everything to these people and Don in particular. So. And it's also kind of weirdly awkward to act in front of your friends. It's easier to act with strangers than with people that you consider family. And they're also fucking good too. Everyone's,
That's
you know.
also very true. Yeah, it's intimidating, the talent that we work with. But yeah, but spending all the time you know, we have a lot of downtime and stuff, so spending that with them makes the experience a lot better.
Yeah.
The Nun.
I'm always curious to hear if you were able to keep anything from any of the sets.
I didn't get a Chucky doll until Cult of Chucky. I asked. They don't really let you take things too much. Wardrobe I got away with. In the first couple films, we had a whole lot of Good Guy doll boxes, and basically anyone who wanted one of those could get one. I had a couple. But yeah, mostly just wardrobe and stuff. I really wanted my hair and beard, and they wouldn't give it to me.
Yeah, it's kind of a misconception that we get to take things home. As for wardrobe, I often bring my wardrobe too. I come to the show with the wardrobe. That leather hat that I always wear is mine. It was mine before I was an actor.
Iconic.
And I've worn it. Don just loves that I still have it, so he puts it. It's been in everything. It's been in Cult. It's been in both seasons of the show that I was in. But my standard answer for the best thing I ever took home from set was Jason Priestley.
Hachi Machi. In the hat.
A month.
Yeah, it was at least a third of the production
Yeah.
probably was in there. It was a lot to do. Yeah.
It's the whole third act of the
Yeah,
movie, so.
Yeah.
Over there in the corner.
Proud of you guys with your questions. You're not shy. Americans are shy.
Are we?
Yeah, yes.
Memorable experience meeting a fan at one of the conventions, and I love you guys in Hustle 3.
My most memorable was at Monsterpalooza, and it was a teenage girl, and she came up, and she was just, you could see her shaking. She was vibrating. She was so terrified. And I shook her hand, and she burst into tears. And then I started crying, and then her mother started crying, and the people at the other table started, it was a whole big, 6 people started sobbing because this girl was so freaked out. She was cute.
First off, you need that girl on set next time.
Yeah, right? She's my stunt crier.
I was talking to you on Friday about your favorite kill, and it's Nina Vardalos from My Big Fat Greek Wedding in season 3
Mhm.
of Chucky. That's a Tiffany kill. What is your favorite Chucky kill for both of you, and what is your favorite Chucky one-liner before a kill? If that makes sense.
I got both for you. I think we both agree that it's Bree falling onto Junior's car, that Chucky pushed her out the window of that building. She falls all the way down and smashes her face into Junior's face.
Yeah, the way it was shot was really beautiful. The fact that she had just decided she was gonna fight her cancer, and the audience was just like, when Chucky peeks around that cart, I've heard the audience a lot go, "Oh no, come on!" No. And then her face smashes right in front of her son.
Yeah.
And we love Teo, so it was just I also loved Keenan's quite a bit.
How's it hanging, Phil?
And that's yeah.
I just wonder if you guys have thought about what you or who you would like to see fight Chucky, but something that would include you guys. So anyone that character is associated with would be kind of like you guys involved with this. Is there anyone that
You mean like an actor or like a character?
character, but
Like a crossover character?
Exactly.
Freddie would
Freddie.
have been the best, because they both have similar comedic sense. They were really dark and but they really enjoy their job. So I think that would be fun.
I agree.
You said that, but everyone would say somebody short.
I know.
No.
Stop with the
Yeah,
leprechaun.
yeah. It's not gonna happen. No Annabelle.
Yeah.
Forget it.
Sorry, this strikes a nerve. What was your personal relationship with Chucky growing up? Were you confused? Maybe did you have nightmares? Were you mostly comfortable? What did you carry from those experiences as a child?
I was really proud during when I was 6, when I was 7, when I was 8, and then kind of right around the time that I got replaced with Justin Whalen, I still felt I mean, we're friends till the end, right? Like, so I still felt close to him, but it was more difficult. It became difficult to talk about it. It became really, really known in my high school that if you mention Chucky to me, I'm gonna be an asshole to you. So yeah, so it was a little bit of trying to put it behind me for a bit, and then I realized that I can't. So, and then I started doing conventions, and I realized how appreciative people are that I've never met, and that kind of strengthens the bond between me and Chucky. Actually, we learned to appreciate each other more through you guys.
Yeah.
Anybody else? You guys have been.
So of the killer doll subgenre of horror, are there other ones that you're like fans of?
I like Megan. I did. Did you see it?
I haven't met her yet. No.
Yeah.
Mithrigan.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the question?
Abigail. Oh, Abigail. She's a vampire.
Oh, like who are like
as a little kid.
other franchise villains that we like?
Doll.
Oh, dolls in particular. Nah.
Trilogy of
They're
Terror
all not
is
my
pretty
Chucky,
great.
so it's not.
Yeah.
Trilogy of Terror, yeah, with Karen Black and the little the voodoo doll. And then, have you guys ever seen Herencia Diabolica? It's like the Mexican shot-for-TV Chucky movie, and he's like in a little clown outfit, but it's a little person, and he definitely like smokes Pall Malls all the time, so he's got these yellow teeth. So
Yeah.
the end is like little stinger where he's like,
I know. I don't know him.
it's a slog, but you'll never forget him.
I just did an appearance in Mexico, and I met the guy who does the voice of Chucky in Mexico.
That
in
video,
Mexico.
that
it was
video
kinda cool.
went around social media of when she picks up the doll and he starts yelling
Yeah,
at her.
yeah.
Oh, it cracks me up every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Every time I get to hurt the doll, it seems to be fun. The opening of Cult, where I smoke a joint with him and then torch his face, that was super fun. Plus, by the time we got to that torching of his face, it was pretty late at night, and the cabin was real, and the snow outside was real, and.
But was the joint real?
Unfortunately, not. I got into character before it, but anyway. And Christina just shown up for her first day on set. Like I hadn't even seen her arrive to the hotel yet or anything. So as I was shooting that all day, Christina ended up coming, and then when I was torching Chucky's face, she was sitting immediately behind me.
Yeah.
So that was just a really fun day.
I did a show in the 80s called China Beach. That they gave me. It's a Vietnam show. Dana Delaney. It's where I saw Dana Delaney do a lot of crying. And the stuff they gave me on that show to do was heavy, emotional stuff. And because it was so well written and the other actors are so good, I was able to. It was the most challenging job I'd ever gotten to date, and I felt like I rose to the challenge with the help of everybody around me. So I name that a lot as my favorite professional experience. And because that show happened, I got ER, and I had a very same producers and writers and showrunner and stuff, and a lot of the same actors got sort of cycled through on ER too. And again, heavy, great show, so well written, so well acted, and so incredible honor to be included in that. So those heavy, smart shows are good to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I slept with him. Off camera. Well, no, I didn't really sleep with George Clooney. My character did, and it happened off camera, unfortunately. So I never got to touch him. But he's really nice.
I slept with them. It was not.
Yes.
I have more of like a statement rather than a question, but I just wanted to thank both of you and everything from me growing up and watching the originals and then going through and having my son love you guys so much and bringing you back us closer together.
Aw.
Sitting there, watching it all together from the series, like every day coming home, T-boning it, watching it, and I appreciate you guys.
Well, that's what it's all about. Thank you.
That's really sweet. Thank you. Yeah. See, that's how you're a Chucky family too. See.
I have a second question that maybe only Alex can answer. Part one, was there a time, because I just read online that the way that the script was written or whatever with Don and Tom Holland, was there a point where even in the script you were wondering, is this all Andy or is Chucky real?
Oh no, that was never. Okay. That was never. I mean, in the intro scene where they showed the footprints across the flower, I understood that was to maybe make the audience not that sure, but that got thrown out the window pretty quick I think also when they came to the idea of marketing the thing. If we don't know it's about a killer doll, it would be weird. Yeah. No, that was never.
But
By the time they got to the drafts that I was reading, that was not really. Yeah.
I think that initially there was Don was sort of toying with the idea that it was Andy's alter ego that was doing stuff, though. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think
which is
maybe
dark, really dark.
Yeah, really dark. Yeah. And in many ways true, but.
Any other questions, folks?
So with Chucky season 1 on Netflix Canada now, and on Peacock in the States, I believe, right? So I followed Don on Twitter. The series was unfortunately canceled, right, after season 3. But I know he's saying he wants to bring it back. So do you think it's going to be in movie format, or do you think now because of popularity on Netflix, maybe in Peacock, maybe another, channel?
Honestly, the real answer is we don't know, and it's a wait and see kind of game for you guys also.
Don posted a cryptic thing yesterday though on X and asked us to share it. And it seems very promising. I would say that personally we prefer the show. The opportunities to involve the OG characters are far greater when you have 8 hours of story to tell. If you have an hour and a half, the chances of the OGs being there are far slimmer. So for selfish reasons, and because this is great to get 8 fucking hours of Chucky every year. I wasn't in spoiler alert. I wasn't in season 3, but I was excited to watch every single episode. I think it was a great season. I loved the final episode was amazing.
Yeah, I think whatever inevitably ends up being the answer to that, it's probably going to take a little bit right now. And for Don especially, you guys really have no idea how hard he worked on that show. And as someone who loves him, I worry about him because it's really a lot of work. And to do that for 3 years in a row, I think it's okay if it takes a couple years.
Yeah, he gets really skinny and stuff. It takes a toll on him.
Yeah.
There's a great documentary. I went to the premiere in Toronto called Living with Chucky.
Yeah. Kira Gardner's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one coming up on Shudder called
Yeah.
Chucky or something.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. It's going to be a good one. They interviewed 150 people or something for that one.
All right.
Anybody else? Don't
One
be
more?
shy. One more?
All right, then come to our tables. We'll be
and
here.
come to Eli
for the rest
Roth's
of the
table
day.
and congratulate him on the success
Let's
of
get
Hostel
a round
3.
of applause for the fine folks. Christina Lees, Alex Vincent.
Thank you guys.